This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 515 Sports Pod. I'm your host, Spencer Schultz. Here with me, Steph Stock and A. Hick. Tonight, we will be discussing basketball, baseball, and football. To start things off, as always, we'll go over our weekly segment, Talking Out Their Ass. Mullet Man, I know you got one, so why don't you start her off?
So, as we all know, I'm a Broncos fan, and we're going to go right to Broncos country and go with Nathaniel Hackett talking about in their pre-London trip press conference on Monday before they left, saying we're going to stick with the status quo and that the players just need to execute better. I'm sorry, dude. You suck. You're going to be fired after Sunday. In my personal opinion, when they lose for a fifth straight week to the Jags. And I just need him gone because my mental health is so bad with him right now. Like, he's got to be gone. He doesn't know how to coach football at the NFL level, as a head coach at the NFL. And yeah, that's where I'm at with him.
All right, question. If they fire him and they start rattling off wins, but still narrowly miss the playoffs, do you prefer that, or do you prefer to lose and get a good draft pick?
Well, see, we don't have a first-round draft pick.
Oh, that is true. Yeah,
so,
you don't have a first round. Okay.
So if they fire him and then they start rattling off wins and barely miss the playoffs, then I'm so looking forward to next year, because then it confirms everything that it was all Hackett and Russ is still Russ. So that's the dream scenario is they fire him and then they somehow run the table and make the playoffs, right? But that's probably not going to happen at 2-6 if they lose this week. So say they can get to 8-9, they finish the season 6-3. I'm so confident going into next year, because then I can just say all offseason, oh, it was Hackett, and they'll be ready to go. So that's definitely the preferred option.
Well, you wanna go before me, Spence, since you're talking about a certain someone in the Broncos organization.
Talking about the cringe lord. Might as well just start naming in this segment the Russell Wilson segment. If you haven't seen, he was doing high knees supposedly on their flight to London, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about talking out their ass. I know KJ Hamler followed up with a tweet and said he can confirm. I got to see a video of this dude doing high knees on an airplane. Are you kidding me? It just can't get any worse with this guy. Yeah, that's my segment. That's all I got to say.
Wonder if he also did the fake huddle he does before the games, and then goes up and does the fake snap.
I don't think it made national things on Twitter, but obviously being a Bronco fan, I follow a bunch of Bronco accounts, and they were like, I guarantee you he was going up and down the aisle whispering in his teammates' ear, Broncos country, let's ride.
All right, so my talking out their ass actually is connected in a way. So Colin Cowherd, the master, the GOAT at talking out of his ass, was talking about how with Russell Wilson, he just needs that moment, and then he won't be corny anymore. Everyone who's considered corny, once you have that winning moment or that signature moment, you're no longer considered corny. And his example was Kirk Cousins was corny for the you like that and all that stuff. But when Kirk Cousins helped perform the Minneapolis Miracle, Kirk Cousins was no longer corny. The only problem with this is Case Keenum was the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. So unfortunately, Colin Cowherd still has no idea what he's talking about. And he followed this up with later on in the same show. He liked the Seahawks over the Chargers because of their running game with Rashad Penny, who 11 days prior had been announced out for the season because he broke his leg. So Colin Cowherd still talking out of his ass about sports while knowing absolutely nothing about sports. I guess I don't know what I'm watching because I totally forgot Kirk Cousins threw a bomb to Stephon Diggs for the Minneapolis Miracle. But yeah, so that's what I got. Colin Cowherd we've said it before. He's going to be a part of this segment for a long time. So
He is the GOAT. Stefan, you got a fan in front of you there? Or?
Nah, it's my microphone, man.
Right. All right. Moving on with the NBA. Season just started over a week ago. Your Lakers are already out there 0-4, baby. Let's start with title favorites. Obviously, the Warriors, defending champs. Who do you guys see as the biggest contenders to knock the Warriors off? Aaron first.
I mean, there's like Boston and Milwaukee are going to be a part of that in the East. In the West, I don't know. Like the West is just wide open. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Spencer. But I mean, I like the Warriors. I'm taking, if I had to pick right now, I'm taking the Warriors to repeat. But we'll see what the Clippers can do with PG and Kawhi. And John, like who knows if John Wall has some kind of resurgence, that changes things a lot. The Suns, I know Chris Paul's kind of having a rough start, but the Suns do have the talent. Whether or not they can take advantage of it, I don't know. Right now, so on the MVP note, my favorite for MVP right now is Luka, because he's like, if this to this point, it's Luka. And if he could go on some kind of Dirk type run and carry the Mavs, I think that is a possibility. But just in the West, I don't see anyone other than the Warriors. As things stand right now, in the East, I see either Boston or Milwaukee coming out of there.
So I agree. I have the Warriors coming out of the West. Spence, you and I talked about this, I think, last night, honestly. Yeah, the West, like we said, the Suns are still contenders just because of how open it is. But like, and then the Nuggets are a question mark with the health. I mean, if Jamal Murray can get back to who he was beforehand and Michael Porter can stay healthy, then maybe they can make a run. But like what Aaron said, where it's basically, I think the Warriors are like the clear favorite in the West, and then in the East, I mean, it's got to be the Bulls, right? See red right here, right? DeRozan and Levine, nah.
Hey, DeRozan is the greatest regular season player of all time.
Exactly. So he's just got to remember that it's the regular season, not the postseason when postseason comes around. But now, realistically, Celtics, Bucks. I think the Bucks are honestly the best team in the league if they can stay healthy. They're the last undefeated team, and they don't even have Middleton yet. Giannis is clearly the best player in the world. And having the best player in the world, I mean, we've seen it for the last 30 years. You have the best player in the world, like you're pretty much a title favorite. And I think they would have repeated last year if they'd stayed healthy. And I think they're going to win their second in 3 years, assuming they stay healthy this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bucks would have beat the Celtics. Last year had Middleton been healthy. Celtics not too far behind, especially with Brogdon now on their team. But who knows how they'll fare in the long run with that head coaching debacle. Beyond them, I really never trust the Heat or the Sixers. I mean, I feel like they're always just there. They're solid teams, but you just don't – I don't know. I never see them as serious title contenders, even though the Heat made it a few years back in the bubble. I guess if James Harden returns to form, which he's looking much better this year, and Maxey continues to take a step forward, they're definitely contenders with that trio with Embiid. Beyond them, nobody really inspiring. As you guys said, the West is wide open. The Grizzlies, I feel like, or that's one team you guys didn't mention. They're probably a player away from being legitimate title contenders. And I know Jaren Jackson's out for the first few months. But, yeah, I got to go Warriors. I'd say top five favorites right now would be Warriors, Bucks, Clippers, Celtics, and then probably Suns fifth. Quickly, what do you guys have any hope for the Nets?
No. They're gonna make the playoffs. KD and Kyrie obviously might be the most talented duo in the league, but the rest of that team is awful. Ben Simmons is a broken player. Just not even worth it at this point. And I think Steve Nash is a bum coach. So no, I don't think they can compete with the Bucks or the Celtics. Like I think they'll make. I shouldn't say they can't compete. I should say I don't see them winning a series. Like KD and Kyrie are going to probably win them 2 games if they're both healthy. Like, would they lose to both of them in 6? Probably, but like I don't think they can win the series.
Yeah, I do think the Nets could take a series, but it entirely depends on the matchup. If it's a matchup where Katie and Kyrie actually can win 4 games all alone, then sure. But I still don't see them doing anything in the playoffs beyond that. And I agree on Steve Nash. Just last night, it's like, what the hell is he doing? He had no emotion and did nothing last year. And it's like he's trying to make up for it this year. He got ejected last night when they're up, they're winning. And I don't know, the situational awareness for him is just something is off. I don't think he's an NBA head coach. Probably a really good assistant coach, but yeah, with that roster that's around Katie and Kyrie and the coaching of Steve Nash, I don't see much from them.
I don't think Nash will make it through the end of the season.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll agree to that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Do they still have D'Antoni, or did he as an assistant?
That's a good question.
I didn't see anything about them not having him, so I would assume so. Like I didn't see anything in the offseason about him leaving.
Because like if they have him, like, and they fire him, he's just like.
Oh, okay. No, he's a coaching advisor for the Pelicans.
Okay, so
I totally missed that. I didn't see that, but yeah.
Yeah, because if he was still there, I would have like honestly, his system could have worked and helped them a lot. I think. I mean, it'd probably be similar to Nash's, but like he would be able to make. He's obviously proven to be a really good head coach, so it would have helped. I think if they had fired him and moved to D'Antoni, but since he's with the Pelicans, it doesn't matter.
All right, moving on to the World Series. Phillies somehow make it all the way. No Dodgers, no Mets. Phillies against the Astros. I'd assume we both or all three of us have the Astros winning it. I'd say Astros in 5 or 6, but I guess you can't really count out the Phillies, especially with their top 2 pitchers. Stefan, what's your prediction and why?
I say Astros in 6. I would not be shocked if the Phillies won. Every year, baseball seems to have one team get insanely hot, make a run, and then, they win it. We saw it with the Nationals in 2019. The Braves were 88 win team last year, got hot and won it. I mean, the Royals went from a wild card a couple years ago to winning the World Series. So, like, we've seen it over time, and they have the best player in the series in Bryce Harper. And when you have the best player in the series, you have a shot because I think in the NLCS, he hit over 400 with like with like 3 or 4 bombs, including the series clinching one in the 8th to put him up. And then, like you said, their top 2 pitchers can go head to head with anybody, and you're going to see them in 4 of the 7 games at this point. So they've got a shot, especially if they can steal another game, like try to go 3-1 and then steal another game, because you're obviously going to see Verlander in 2 of those games as well. So, but the Astros, I think, are just too good, and I got them to win in 6.
So my analytical side takes the Astros. My emotional side takes the Phillies for a lot of the same reason. I remember I took the Braves last year, and it was just because they were so hot at the right time. Freddie Freeman was playing lights out in a way that I believe Bryce Harper is playing right now too. And I don't know. I think I am taking the Astros, but like you said, Stefan, I will not be surprised if the Phillies win, especially if Bryce Harper keeps this up. And I also want to say I think it's good for baseball and good for the MLB that Bryce Harper is playing in a World Series. He I think he's lived up to the billing as a number one pick. I know there was a little stretch in there where people thought he might be a bust or whatever, but he's put that to bed. And now what he's really doing for his legacy is building those postseason moments that he didn't really have any of those big postseason moments yet in his career. Great regular season, but just never really had that shot in the postseason. And now on this run, he's finally in like that home run in the 8th inning. That's a moment that will be remembered. That now Bryce Harper has that in his career. So I am taking the Astros, but I think there's a very real chance that the Phillies do steal it. If they do, I think it might be in 7, but I am also going to take the Astros in 6.
I will say I think the Astros are more beatable than years past. Obviously, Correa left, although Pena is arguably just as good. But they don't have really they don't have the elite starter behind Verlander like in their past runs. McCullers looked solid this year, but I think they're more beatable than they have been in years past. Another thing that the Phillies fans should be confident about is their home crowd. If they can split on the road and then get it back to Philly, as we know, those East Coast crowds are electric, and we've seen it throughout the postseason with Philly. All right, let's move into the NFL. Already week 8, halfway through the season. Buccaneers Ravens on at the moment, so we won't be previewing that game. But we'll be doing the top 5 games. First, discuss Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers showing their age a little bit this season. Not having the elite seasons that we're accustomed to. Aaron, anything you can really attribute it to more than just age?
I mean, Brady obviously has a lot going on in his life right now. I think Rodgers and Brady are actually very different situations in that Rodgers is really struggling with the team that's around him, and Brady is really like just has stuff going on in his life. And I don't know if he is having any regret coming out of retirement. If he is, he's not going to show it. I know he said in a press conference like last week he's not retiring anytime soon. I don't know if I believe that, but he might double down on that statement just because he's like an insane competitor, often to his own detriment as of late. But I think it's something they both can rebound from, but I think it's a lot more likely that Brady does than Rodgers, just because of the talent around Brady. The talent around Rodgers is not anything impressive at all. Like, you got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, so there's a good run game. But outside of that, you're not going to do anything in the playoffs with Lazard as your wide receiver 1, as much as I love him. Randall Cobb, who Rodgers has a huge amount of trust in, is hurt. They have to make a trade for someone, like, or sign OBJ. Just do something to show that you didn't convince Aaron Rodgers to not retire, and then put this team around him. Because they're basically, the way they're treating this season, they're going to make Rodgers want to retire again right after this season. And they're going to have that whole conversation again. And this time, Rodgers isn't going to believe them. He's not going to want to stay because Devontae Adams already got traded. They haven't proven that they care enough to put the talent around him. And so because of those factors, I think it's a lot more likely that Brady bounces back than Rodgers. They both have the talent to do it, though. But yeah, obviously winning solves everything. So if the Buccaneers can start rattling off some wins, people are going to stop talking about that stuff going on in Brady's personal life. Just like if the Packers can start rattling off some wins, people are going to get off Aaron Rodgers back a little bit. But yeah, it's just been a weird thing. Some of it is age too, I think, but I think it's a little bit deeper than that.
I basically agree with everything on whether or not, like, if I had to pick one to bounce out, it would be Brady. But I think Brady's starting to show his age. I know Spence has been on that train for a while, but over the last 2 weeks, I'm on board. He looked awful against the Panthers. He doesn't look very good tonight as we're recording. Um, I mean, he's 45. We've never seen somebody play this deep into their career. Anyway, so and then I think the personal life stuff's just taking a toll on him as well. So that could be part of it, like you said. But I don't know. I think both just kind of coming to an end. Rodgers, I think part of it is the talent around him, but I think like I've seen like he's just not even looking at certain guys even when they're wide open, and that's like a lack of trust. Whether that's with those guys with the play calling, I don't know, but I don't really think either of them bounce out of it this year, to be honest. And I think we could see both of them leave football at the end of the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I actually disagree with Aaron in the fact that I think Rodgers would be more likely to bounce back just because of he's a bit younger, and I think if the Packers do make a move for a wide receiver, I think that helps a lot. I think DJ Moore makes too much sense for them, especially if they want to be contenders this season. I agree, though. I think it's a realistic possibility both of them are done after the season. Yeah, he's definitely missing Devontae, though. Yeah, kind of weird to see. We'll cover them here in a little bit as they play on Sunday Night Football. Real quick, Stefan, who is your top 3 at the moment for MVP this season?
Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Oh man, Josh Allen and Saquon Barkley, but I don't know if I want Mahomes or Hurts. I think Mahomes, but I just because the Eagles are undefeated, I think people are gonna give Hurts a lot of votes if they keep this up. The Eagles keep this up, but yeah, I think I have the exact same 3. And then honestly, if Jamar Chase is out 4 to 6 weeks and Joe Burrow continues to play the way he has, then I think Burrow's going to creep into that conversation. But right now, I have the same top 3 as Stefan.
I'm going Mahomes 1. He leads the league in yards and touchdowns. I think he's just gone. I don't know. I think he's just gone under the radar at this point. Just kind of. I mean, I feel like we're just used to his greatness at this point. Putting him 1, Josh Allen 2, Jalen Hurts 3 would be my top 3. Let's get into our games for the week.
I think before we get into the games, it's crazy. It sounds so crazy to say that neither Aaron or I had Jalen Hurts in our top 3 when they're the last undefeated team in football. But it's like, I really don't think he is top 3 because like there's been, I think 3 of their 6 games, he doesn't have a passing touchdown.
And it's just Allen and Mahomes are so good, just the clear top 2. And then the next tier below that is such a step below that. And then you look at the Giants and how important Saquon has been because that offense is devoid of talent outside of Saquon.
And a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah. So like and it's crazy that because running backs just don't. MVP is a quarterback award now. So the fact that Saquon is even in that conversation right now, I think speaks a lot to how amazing he's been this year. But yeah, I think you have to have Saquon in there over Hurts just because of how special and how important he's been to that Giants team because they got nothing else going on offense.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's become a quarterback award, and the bare minimum you have to do to win the MVP as a running back at this point seems to be like rush for 2,000 yards to even like be in consideration. I don't know if Saquon will get to that, but if they keep winning, like everyone knows they're winning strictly because of him, and they still can't stop it. He's their leading rusher, obviously, and he's their second leading receiver. So yeah, I don't think he'll end up winning it, but I think you have to have him in the top 3 right now.
I'm gonna have to disagree. Eagles are undefeated. I know they acquired AJ Brown offseason, so they were kind of a trendy pick, but nobody expects them to be undefeated. I mean, people are writing off Jalen Hurts last season, 2 years ago. And you said that he hasn't had a passing touchdown in 3 games, which is true, but he had a rushing touchdown in all those games. And I think touchdowns at that point, I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's passing or rushing. He's got six rushing on the year. I will say he probably needs a little bit more passing yards if he wants to stay in the discussion long term. And honestly, I give Saquon credit for sure, but I mean he's averaging 103 yards per game right now, which is, don't get me wrong, it's really good, but for a running back, I feel like that's got to be it's got to be like on track for 2,000, which 103 a game isn't. He's not even leading the league in rushing right now. Impact. If we're talking truly most valuable, then yes, but I'm gonna keep him out of the top 3 for now.
I do love your sleeper Joe Burrow pick as well.
Yeah, he's been going under the radar.
Ever since week 1, he has 1 turnover. He had a really bad week 1, coming off of surgery, missing most of camp. And then after that, he's been unreal. So like, yeah, especially if Chase is out and they win that, go get on a hot streak and win that division, he could definitely creep up into that conversation for MVP. I think he's clear top 5 quarterback in the league at this point.
Yep. I agree.
Probably. Brady and Rodgers aren't. You can't say it.
Yeah, like I'm the only 2 I'm like not making an argument, like you can't make an argument for him over is Mahomes and Allen, but outside of that, like I think you can make an argument for him over every other quarterback in the league.
Probably say Lamar, Burrow, and I don't know.
Let me think for 1 second.
I don't know if Hurts is done enough for me to put him top 5 yet.
I'm taking him over Herbert. He wins more, and he puts up.
Herbert's quietly been average lately.
Yeah, I'm taking him.
He is playing with pudding for ribs right now, though. I'll give him a pass on that.
That's fair. But like so far this, like everybody had their top 10 quarterbacks like going into the season. Like he's clearly better than Herbert right now. He's way better than Brady and Rodgers right now. Better than Stafford. Better than. He's had a better season than Lamar. Lamar's cooled down a ton. Who else is there? Better than Hurts.
I mean, Kyler and Russ haven't. I mean, they've taken a step backwards too.
Yeah,
Stafford too has been not good.
Dak's been hurt. Like
if Dak bounces back, well, not really bounces back, but just if he comes back well from that injury, then Dak could be a borderline top 5 again.
Creeper Watson's back soon. He might creep into that conversation.
Yeah, he hasn't played in 2 years. We'll see if he's even close to the same guy.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting. I wonder. I guess he was never in the clinks. I wonder if he was still working on his game. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with picks.
This meeting is being recorded.
Now we'll get into our weekly NFL picks. Stefan will bring up the picks on the screen. Rough week for all 3 of us, really. It was a difficult week to pick. I think all 3 of us went 6-8. Let's see. Stefan, I think, is up 1 game now. Nope, me and Stefan are tied on the season at 41-35. Aaron, 2 games back at 39-37. We've been pretty even all year long. I do have the worst lock of the week, thanks to the Buccaneers. Did they lose to the Panthers Panthers?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That just blows my mind. All right, let's get into our weekly discussion for our picks. We would have done Ravens Buccaneers, but as we said earlier, it was going on while we were filming. Stefan, you can take that L, update the standings because I am now up a game. All right, let's get right into it. We've got Cardinals, Vikings to start off. All of us got Vikings across the board in Minnesota. We've talked about it. I've talked about it. Cliff Kingsbury. I said he was the worst coach left with Matt Rule gone, but maybe second worst behind Nathaniel Hackett. We'll get into Hackett later. But what do the Cardinals have to do to win, Aaron?
Basically D-Hop needs to go off. That's really all. Because, I mean, I think there's a decent chance it comes down to the wire. If the Cardinals have their game plan running through D-Hop. Because, I mean, I'll be honest, my entire family is Vikings fans, and I've seen this movie before where they start out really good and end up as like a 500 team. So I'm always just kind of waiting for the wheels to fall off. With that being said, I don't think the Cardinals have anyone that can stop Jefferson, and I also don't really think they can stop Dalvin Cook. Whether it's through the air or on the ground, I think the Vikings are just a better team. For the Cardinals to win, I think it will take a D-Hop masterclass, just absolutely torching the Vikings secondary. Yeah, that's really the only way I see a Cardinals dub is a D-Hop going off. If he doesn't go off, I don't think they have a chance.
I mean, this is gonna sound cheesy, but the new COD comes out tonight. I'm not sure. I'm not sure anything else needs to be said. We know Kyler ain't gonna be getting extra film in this week. Nah, for real though, the Vikings are what 5-1, coming off a bye week, had 2 weeks to prepare. I really like the Vikings this year. I think quietly they are the second best team in the NFC. And that's not just record wise. Like, I mean, I honestly believe they're the second best team in the NFC behind the Eagles.
That's a good discussion. I think the two best teams in the NFC might be in the NFC East.
Are you saying the Cowboys are the second best team? Because I know you're not saying the Giants are the second best team.
No. Cowboys defense is really good. And
That
Dak's
Cowboys
back.
defense is crazy, and Dak is back. I agree with Spencer.
That's fair.
Who would have thought? NFC East.
As the two. Yeah, I mean, I'd have the Cowboys 3 right now, I think. I don't know. It's close. But
I have serious trust. I just have serious trust issues with the Vikings, just because my whole family is Vikings fans, so I watch a lot of Vikings games, and I just know how it goes with them. So
yeah, and I trust Cowboys defense obviously way more than the Vikings.
that's fair.
What were we talking about? Vikings, Cardinals. Yeah, I don't have too much to add, but I will say I was thinking of something. This should have been my talking out their ass earlier. Going right back to who Aaron had, Colin Cowherd, I think it was. He suggested a Russell Wilson for a Kyler Murray straight up swap. I have no clue why the Cardinals would even entertain
Yes,
that.
please.
Why would the Cardinals even entertain that?
you switching up? You switching up, Stefan?
Oh, I'm
On
for
your
sure
board?
taking Kyler over Russ.
Yeah, that should have been
And that's
COD or corniness? Which one?
like that's not even just because of like how bad Russ has played. Like if you had told me before the season, like Russ or Kyler, I'd have took Kyler just because he's going to be around longer.
But I will say I don't know if Kyler. I don't know. Once Kyler's speed like starts diminishing.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't
But like,
yeah,
25 compared to 33. I mean, you're going to get at least 5 more years out of Kyler, I think, before he really starts to diminish. Where like Russ, I mean, we've seen what he looks like this year, but like if you had told me who's more likely to be still elite in 5 years, Kyler or Russ, I would have said Kyler. So
I will say here in a few weeks, Kyler. I mean, I guess Kingsbury still coaches a little bit of an excuse, but here in a few weeks he won't have much of an excuse anymore. I mean, they'll have Hop, they'll have Hollywood back here soon. Rondale Moore is really good. Zach Ertz having a bounce back year, or I should say 2 years. I guess they got the corpse of AJ Green and Robbie Anderson as their fourth and fifth wideouts. Pretty fucking stacked wide receiver room. We'll get into the next game. We've got 49ers at Rams. Dang it. I was hoping I could steal a game here. I picked 49ers on the road. 49ers 3-4 kind of surprised me when I was looking at the standings. Because I think rest of the season, I'm putting them right there with the Cowboys, especially now that they got McCaffrey. They'll get Bosa back soon. 49ers, I think, yeah, they're Super Bowl contenders, but
Only if they start Purdy, but yeah, I agree.
yeah, until you pulled that pick last week. Stock, what about why'd you go 49ers over Rams? Just don't trust the offense right now?
I don't trust the Rams offensive line. Getting Van Jefferson back this week should hopefully help. I think their offense in general, the Stafford at least has some connection with Jefferson. Obviously, he doesn't seem to have that with Allen Robinson at all. But the other thing is too, is like the 49ers just for whatever reason own the Rams. They've won 9 out of the last 10. Only win was the NFC Championship game. And I think there's no film of what Kyle Shanahan's going to do with Christian McCaffrey. And now that he's had a week to get him up to speed compared to a day of like practice and stuff, like I think you're going to see some really innovative stuff with Christian McCaffrey in that offense this week.
Yeah, literally everything Stefan said. In the regular season, the Niners just absolutely own the Rams for whatever reason. I think the defense is going to bounce back from the performance against the Chiefs. The Rams offense is nothing compared to Kansas City. And I just need to see more from the Rams before I'm willing to take them in a game like this. They haven't really proven much this year. And yeah, like you mentioned, Stefan, with Christian McCaffrey, I think there's going to be a big difference for Christian McCaffrey between being really one of the only options with the Panthers to now just finding cool, innovative ways that Kyle Shanahan is going to get him the ball. I think he's going to actually hit another level, if that's possible, with the 49ers just because of the type of scheme that he'll be in. Instead of just getting a bunch of targets because he's the best weapon, he's going to get put in some different situations that I think will benefit him the rest of the season.
Next game, we got 6-1 Giants at the 4-3 Seattle Seahawks. I think a few toils before the season, these teams were combined 10-4 heading into this game. With Geno Smith and Daniel Jones as quarterbacks, you wouldn't know what to think. All of us got the Seahawks home field advantage there. Seattle's had that obviously for a number of years now. Aaron, what are your thoughts on this one?
So I did think about this one a little bit because the Giants are just – you have to give them credit because they're just finding ways to win. And I actually think well, first of all, it's been great to see Saquon regain form. I also think there's been a couple games where Daniel Jones hasn't got enough credit. Like he hasn't been great by any means, but there's been a couple games where Daniel Jones made some really nice plays, and I think actually played really complimentary with Saquon. Just last week, he had like 100 rushing yards and made some really nice plays in that game. So I just think their offense doesn't have the talent, and we talked about this earlier with Saquon being in the MVP conversation. On the Seahawks side of things, you've got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker, who I think is possibly the favorite. Him and Dameon Pierce are going to be battling for Offensive Rookie of the Year now that Bryce is out. And then what's that?
Would have been a heck of a three-way battle.
Oh, seriously. But I know I said earlier this year that if Geno was still playing the way he was through a few games, like halfway through the season, I'd tip my cap. And we're right about halfway through the season, and Geno is legit playing very good at the quarterback position. He's completing like 73, 74% of his passes. I do think he's better than Daniel Jones in this matchup. So just because of the lopsidedness of the talent on offense, as well as the home field advantage, that's why I'm taking the Seahawks.
It's crazy to me in a week that includes Aaron Rodgers against Josh Allen, the 49ers against the Rams, which is a rematch of the NFC Championship game, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins. The only game this week with two teams with a winning record is a game between Daniel Jones and Geno Smith. They're that's the only game that both teams have a winning record in, which is nuts. But anyway, taking the Seahawks. I know the Giants are 6-1. They gotta eventually lose a close game, right? Like they're 6-1 and their point differential is 18 points.
Yeah, I mean their leading receivers. I sent you this. Richie James, who has 191 yards through 7 games, on pace for 463.
Yeah, like eventually they gotta lose a close one. Like they just keep pulling close game after close game out. And they play good run control offense with Saquon and have actually above average defense. That's how they're doing it. And then Danny Dimes is making a play or two every game. And but eventually it's gonna run out, and I think it runs out this week.
I would have to agree. Let's get into the next one. Packers at Bills. It really shouldn't be one of the 5 games we discussed, but I picked it just because of, I guess, the appeal still with Aaron Rodgers. But 11-point underdogs on the road against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. We obviously got Bills across the board. Aaron, do you give the Packers any chance in this one?
No, because even I will say I am really excited for the Jair Alexander Stephon Diggs matchup. I think Jair Alexander is one of a handful of legit lockdown corners in the NFL right now. But even if he does find a way to shut down Diggs, the Bills just have so many other ways to win. And Josh Allen he's just that good. He can go out and win a game without Stephon Diggs if he needs to. And on the other side of things, there's just not that much talent around Aaron Rodgers. And it's just crazy to me to be watching a game between the Packers and the Bills, and there's that much of a talent gap. Like the Packers should not have that much of a talent gap, even though the Bills are one of the best in the NFL. There should not be that much of a talent gap, but there is. And because of that, I don't really see a way for the Packers to win this one. Maybe hang around in the first half, but I think that 11-point line is actually I agree with it. I think the Bills are that much better than the Packers.
Yeah. If you made me pick a side betting wise, I'm taking the Bills to cover 11.5. I don't, especially off of a bye week. I don't know. The Packers are just really bad right now, and Rodgers has been all over the media talking about calling everybody out this week. I just don't think it's a good formula, and I think the Bills win soundly.
Yeah, I don't see the Packers having much chance either. I think the key, if they want to win this game, I think they got to establish the run game with Jones and Dillon. But the Bills got a good front seven, so no guarantee they can get going there. But yeah, I don't give the Packers much chance in this one. We'll move to Monday Night Football, AFC North battle, Bengals at Browns. This is a big matchup just in the fact that the Browns really want to stay in the playoff hunt. They got to win this one. Sitting at 2-5. Obviously, got Deshaun coming or returning here in about a month. if they win this one and can, win 2 of the next 3, 3 of the next 4, they'll have a chance with Deshaun back. But yeah, they got to win this one if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. Stefan, what are your thoughts?
So I made my pick before the Jamar Chase news broke. And I was really confident. I honestly thought about putting them as my lock of the week whenever I was going through it. And then, so like I still think the Bengals win even without Jamar Chase now. Bengals quietly offensively the last 5 weeks, 4 of them they put up 7+. Their offense is clicking again like it was at the end of last year, and the Browns defense is pretty banged up. I don't think Denzel Ward's back. Greedy Williams, I know they're trying to trade. Like that secondary is pretty beat up, and it's just not a good matchup even without Jamar Chase. So, and the quarterback matchup is night and day. Jacoby Brissett to Joe Burrow. So I think the Bengals win pretty easily.
Yeah, pretty much everything Stefan said. I am curious to see how much Jamar Chase being out affects the Bengals. I just don't think it's going to be against the Browns that we get the answer to that. I think they'll be just fine against Cleveland. Maybe in future weeks that Jamar Chase injury will really hurt. But the way Burrow is playing right now just absolutely lights out. I don't think they'll have too much of an issue with the Browns.
This game is one where, or I guess the next 4 to 6 weeks now, is where having Tyler Boyd is really crucial. He's already a really good wide receiver 3, and he can step in as the wide receiver 2 with Chase out pretty easily. I expect Denzel Ward to probably shadow T. Higgins, though. If he can shut down T. Higgins, though, I think Browns have a shot. Obviously, established the run game with Hunt and Chubb. Yeah, it'll be a close one, especially in Cleveland, but I still got the Bengals winning this one. And before we get to the throwback legend of the week, real quick, just give me your quick thoughts on Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs for 3rd and 6. Does it set them over the edge, or I guess make them favorites now, or how significant is it?
Doesn't mean much to me. I mean, another weapon. If he can stay healthy or anything, I don't know. I mean, it's not making me like I had the Bills as the better team. It's not making me be like, oh, now the Chiefs are better. Like they got better, but it's not a crazy acquisition in my mind.
I agree. I like this trade a lot for the Giants. Admit your mistake and just move on. And they got like a 3rd and 6 is really good considering how Kadarius Toney has done nothing in the NFL. He's injured all the time. He's played like 12 of 24 possible games in his career. And he hasn't done anything in those 12 games. So we'll see if he turns into a weapon for the Chiefs, but as of right now, I think it's actually a really good trade for the Giants.
Yeah, I'm shocked that the Giants got a 3rd and 6. I honestly thought they would have gotten like a 5th, maybe a 4th by itself at most, but a 3rd and 6. Great return, as you said. Yeah, quite interesting. I'm not too confident on either, especially with his off-the-field concerns and obviously his injury concerns as well. And I feel like there's just too many receivers in that Chiefs room for him to, I guess, stand out really. Aaron, you've got the throwback legend of the week, I think, to end things off.
All right, we're sticking with baseball this week. Career 338 batting average and 388 on base percentage. His worst year was his rookie year when he still batted 289 with a 337 OBP. And he wasn't just getting dinky little singles or doing no damage. He had a career OPS of 847, which is pretty good for a guy who wasn't really a power hitter. In 1994, he batted 394, which is the closest anyone has come to batting 400 since Ted Williams back in the day. And you just couldn't get this guy out. It's a lost start in the game of baseball today. I don't want to sound like a back in my day kind of guy, but with the 3 true outcomes way that a lot of players approach the game today, I just don't think someone like this guy is going to be seen again. That guy is, if you haven't figured it out by now, Tony Gwynn, San Diego Padres legend, contact hitter legend, batting average legend. Just a fun player to go back and watch. I mean, I didn't get to see much of him when he was, I think he retired when we would have been like 4 years old. But he's fun to just go back and watch him hit because his at-bats were incredible. You couldn't get him out.
Greatest pure hitter of all time. Like,
Agreed.
obviously, he doesn't have the power juice that some of the guys have, but greatest pure hitter of the baseball game's ever seen.
Yeah, I don't think he gets enough credit when discussing just the greats of baseball. Yeah, R.I.P. Tony Gwynn. Good way to end things. You're going to be sure to tune in next week. Follow us on Twitter at the 515 Sports Pod. See you guys next week.